Welcome back to The Big Idea. Okay, you know, for a kid, anything that goes wrong can seem like the end of the world. We've all been there. But imagine a beautiful little 11-year-old girl who's losing her hair. That's pretty tough stuff for anybody, certainly an 11-year-old girl. Happened to my next guest, but incredibly, even though it brought profound pain, it revealed her American dream.
Classics International. The salon expertly designs custom-made wigs and hair weaves, growing to over $2 million in sales last year. Helen Owens founded the multi-million-dollar business based on inspiration rooted in her own personal battle.
Helen Owens, CEO of Classics International. She was saved by a big idea. Helen, it is a real privilege to have you on the show.
It's a privilege to be here. Thank you, Don.
Okay. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a housing project in San Francisco.
Okay.
I'm from Harness Point, and that's where I grew up at.
And what was your life like as a kid at 6 and 7 years old?
Pretty rough neighborhood, but I grew up with 5 other siblings, and pretty tough.
And what happened early in life around that time that was kind of pivotal and really formed what would happen to the rest of your life?
Well, I woke up one day at 11 years old and found a big surprise. I wasn't aware of what alopecia was at the time. I woke up and found my hair. It's a very emotional situation, so just found that I had tons of beautiful hair, quite like the hair I'm wearing right now, which I custom made for myself. And it just started falling out in big patches and balls when I brushed it. And it was devastating. I was screaming and hollering. As a matter of fact, I thought I was dying.
What happened when you go to school?
When I went to school, I was pretty much teased and pretty much, you know, told don't sit next to the ball girl or you're going to get the ball disease. It was horrible.
And what did the doctor say?
Well, we were pretty much a very poor family.
Yeah.
Could not afford to. There was no doctor involved.
Yeah.
Actually, though, it was pretty much a blessing to my surprise that when I started losing my hair in these big forms and these big balls and patches, there was a lady in the neighborhood who pretty much looked over all of us kids, and her name was Granny. And I remember sitting on the porch one day outside of my house, and I had my head down, and I was devastated over my hair loss. And a hand came over my shoulder, and when I looked up, it was Granny, and she said to me, "What's wrong, honey? Are you okay?" And I said, "I'm dying, Granny. I'm losing my hair, and it's coming out in big balls and big patches, and I'm dying." And she said, "Oh my God," she said, "this is a blessing." And I said, "I'm 11 years old. How is this a blessing? This could not possibly be a blessing." And she said, "It's a blessing. Trust me, I believe everything happens for a reason." So she took me to her house, and she opened up a big photo album. She said, "Well, everything in here, there's no woman in this book that her hair belongs to her. She was not born with this hair." And I said, "Oh my God, you have to be kidding. This is incredible." And she said, "Granny's going to teach you how to make custom wigs. And you're going to have the best looking hair in the neighborhood. You're going to have more hairdos than everybody, and you're going to look fabulous."
So what happened when you started to weave and make these wigs and still go to school?
I was going to school, and I was pretty much ounced by the other kids, because it was like, don't go with, you know, she's bald, stay away from her.
Do you remember a specific moment? Because we all have difficult moments as a kid. Yours are extraordinary. A day where they were calling you baldy or something. Do you remember any specific moment?
I remember a specific moment when one girl, at the time, I did not know that my own mother had alopecia. It wasn't something we talked about, and I wasn't aware that she wore wigs. So I found my mom's wigs, and I started to cut them up to make little patches of hair to put around my head. And one day, a girl pulled one of them out, and she said the texture of her hair could not possibly be hers because it's not her texture. And when she pulled it, it fell to the ground. Right. And I remember just holding my head down in total embarrassment. All the kids were standing around me laughing, and I was crying. And that was the point I really remembered and said, "It's okay. I'm 11 years old, but it's okay." Because from the time I was 5 or 6, I was braiding hair in the neighborhood, and I loved hair. And at 11 years old, I figured out that this was a blessing, that I was going to be born to do this.
So you started to learn this whole craft.
Yes, I did.
And at 15, your life also took a turn.
At 15, my life took a big turn because I made it to the 11th grade, and school was it just wasn't happening for me. It was something that I think it became unbearable. I met a boy and ended up getting pregnant at age 14 and having a child at 15. And so I was just pretty much all over the place with it. I was like, oh my God, okay, I'm pregnant, I'm gonna have a kid. Pretty much everybody was like, your life's over. You know, you're bald, you're pregnant, you're gonna have a kid now. And then by age 16 and a half, I was pregnant again and had another kid. So by the time I was 17, I had 2 children. And, you know, 2 children at 17, confused.
How were you managing that?
Poor. It was pretty rough. It was pretty rough. I have an incredibly strong mother who helped me, 5 incredibly strong brothers, and 1 incredibly strong sister.
So you're 16, 17 now, 2 little babies.
Yes.
There's disease where you lose your hair.
Yes.
You're starting to learn this business. So where'd you go with this?
Well, what I did was I decided that I was going to start cleaning houses to make my way through cosmetology school, because the school that I wanted to go to was very prestigious, and I wanted to go to that school. But I knew I had to earn the money. And I had 2 children, and I was dropped out of school, and I was trying to figure it out. So what I did is I joined up with another guy, an old friend of mine. His name is Juno, and we started knocking on doors, asking people if they would give us the opportunity to clean their house. We would do a good job. And people pretty much kind of took us up on it and said, okay, you're young, you look like you're trying to do something, I'm going to let you clean my house. Started cleaning houses. Cosmetology school was $800 a month. Paid for cosmetology school, made it through cosmetology school. Granny taught me her craft. As a matter of fact, when she taught me, she was 92 years old, bless her heart, and she died. And she said to me, before she did, she took my hand and she said, I give you this with your hands. I give you mine because I know you're going to be special. So it's very emotional for me. And what I did at that point is finish cosmetology school, got my license, and didn't really have a lot of money. Got a cosmetology chair, put it in my garage, and applied for a license to make wigs out of my garage. So what happened from that point was I just thought of this. I said, well, if people would just give me the chance and the opportunity to do this, you can bring me a couple of $100, a bag of hair, and I'll make it happen. So this is how it started. And where it went from there was incredible, because I lived in a house in what we call Daly City, I think it's Daly City, California. And at that point, the people just started to come. People just started to come to me, and it got so overwhelming where I had like 200 or 300 people at one time. And the people in the neighborhood like, oh, this is too much. You have too many clients. We know what you do.
So where'd you move? Where's the business now, and what size is it?
The business is 3,000 square feet. It's in San Leandro, California, and it's wonderful.
And you're making a couple $1 million a year.
A couple of $1 million a year.
Wow, that's a long way from that little girl losing her hair, 11 years old.
Yes.
Well, you had an angel. Granny certainly was an angel.
Granny was certainly my angel.
Okay. Any lesson we could share with folks? I mean, your story is an incredible one too. People who, you know, kids who are having a tough time, or people who have kids that are having a tough time, or even adults, because you've overcome so much.
Yes.
With so much strength. So
yes.
Any wisdom from that strength?
I would say that you have to hold on to hope. Hope is very important. It's a process that you have to feel in your heart that you can survive, because a lot of times when you're in that predicament, you feel like your whole life you're down. You don't feel like you really have the strength to get up to even try to do it. I would not suggest, of course, teenage pregnancy to anybody. But if it's something that happens, I would like to say to these girls that you can do it.
What a great story.
Thank you.
Good things happen to good people. I think I kind of feel Granny looking down on you right now.
Oh, thank you so much, Donny.
Keep up all the good
Thank
stuff.
you. Thank you.
Helen Owens, CEO of Classics International. More Big Idea.